Swami Paramashivananda Ji Maharaj amongst us. He came here 3-4 days back for Pashupatinath and Muktinath Darshan. So today he was here, and I requested him yesterday, because he is this inter-IT very expert. Our whole Ramakrishna Mission website and everything he is handling. He is the main in charge, top one in Ramakrishna Mission. Our this website in Kathmandu also Maharaj only did through his team. So I requested that something you should do for today, and he agreed. So then today this Advaita and
he is there inside.
Advaita and AI there. So something like that Maharaj was telling, this modern technology and how it is used to detect something like that Maharaj was telling. I don't know exactly what it is. Afterward, during question answer, you can ask him what it is. That time he will tell. So during Corona period, what happened? People getting stressed and all these things, and some America, some company, big organization or company, they invited this IT expert from all over the world, and that time Maharaj also designed something, some app or something, I don't know. Afterward he will, Maharaj, you can ask him. And that was, so many people sent, and that Maharaj, what he designed, using modern technology and solution from Vedanta and our yoga, all these things. And that was, he backed first prize in that. $35,000 that time he got during this Corona time. So I told something here also, this idea came to me, and I told my that idea, modern technology and our ancient solution to solve these problems, all kinds of problems. So he agreed, requested. I am very thankful to Maharaj, and without much delay, I don't know.
Vedic chanting.
Huh?
Chanting.
Yes, our Nityan is our initiated devotee from Tamil Nadu, and in his house they are speaking in Sanskrit with parents, family members. They are talking in Sanskrit. So I requested him to do Sanskrit chanting. You can come up. You can come in front of Thakur or like that, Guru Maharaj, and Sanskrit Vedic chanting, and then one song about Thakur in Tamil language. So with that we will start our program. After that, now rest I'll hand over to Maharaj.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Yathagne dahika shaktihi Ramakrishne sthitarata. Ramakrishne
Sthita hiya sarva vidya
swarupam tam sharadam pranamamyaham. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Ananta Samsara Samudratara Naukaitabhyam Guru Bhakti Dabhyam Vairagya Samrajyada Pujanabhyam Namo Namaha Shri Guru Padukabhyam.
The song he'll sing in that
one
words.
song in Tamil.
No, sing.
No. Because our ending will be our evening arati
Okay,
and
okay.
all these
Yes,
things.
yes, yes.
So song.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Jaya He. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Jaya He. Shivavatara, Shishya Abhayankara, Shrita Janavatsala, Jaya Jaya He. Shivavatara, Shishya Abhayankara, Shrita Janavatsala, Jaya Jaya He. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Jaya He. Viveka Bhushana Vijnana Nilaya, Vivekananda, Jaya Jaya He. Viveka Bhushana Vijnana Nilaya, Vivekananda, Jaya Jaya He. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Jaya He. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Jaya He.
Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. My respectful pranams to Maharaj and namaskars to all the distinguished guests, devotees, professionals and maybe some students also assembled here for the session. Today's session is about Advaita and AI. Here is the roadmap for today's presentation, the agenda. So we'll begin with a brief introduction to Advaita Vedanta through a simple example, beautifully said by Swami Vivekananda. And we'll also examine one of the principles of the world that has been observed by Swami Vivekananda, and we'll see how it can be applied to the AI. We'll also look at facets of AI where AI and Advaita actually meet. We have taken 4 things. One is about knowledge, thinking, trust and consciousness. So these are the 4 things that we have been discussing and the world has been discussing when it comes to AI. So we'll see that. Next, we will also explore how non-profits and spiritual organizations like Ramakrishna Matan Mission and other renowned non-profits are adopting technology, especially AI. And what role do we need to play in this AI age? We'll then turn to the creation of something called intelligence and reality labs. Because we find these 2 things. You have now the artificial intelligence. Next, it could be the natural intelligence, the super intelligence, and many more things coming up. And even in the reality, on the side, we have something called augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. Then we know about the reality according to the Vedanta. So these have been much instrumental in many of the projects that we have undertaken also. And these kind of projects actually appeal for the younger generation too. So building on this, we'll see how Advaita Vedanta can also be put into practice through some of these initiatives that drew on multidisciplinary technologies. Example, you have the generative AI itself, you have cognitive neuroscience, which medical professionals will know, the mixed reality, and also something called the digital twins, which we'll see. We'll also see how AI and Advaita, if taken together, can make a meaningful impact across 3 fronts. One is accessibility for the people like visually challenged and other abilities, children empowerment, and also our own self-empowerment. Finally, we'll conclude with 2 ventures that we have conceived for the younger generation. One is the Nachiketa lab, which we have done it in Chennai Mutt, a model lab, and also a concept called DigiSeva, especially for the professionals. We have planned something. So, the The next one is, if you want Advaita in 2 minutes, just by the word Advaitam itself, the question is answered. If you see the ones in the red letters, the question is asked, am I? And I am. So who am I? I am that. So just by in the word itself, it is kind of inherent. And Swamiji tells a beautiful story illustrating this idea. The story goes, there was once a tiny drop of water. It had lived whole its life as a drop of water. It is a small drop, a distinct, precious to itself. It always takes care of itself. And then one day the drop just fell. It fell from a great height, tumbling through the air, and landed not on the earth but on the ocean itself. The moment it touched that boundless water, the little drop began to weep because it is losing its individuality. It began to cry and complain bitterly, just as many of us do when life carries us somewhere we do not choose. Then it somehow worries. I'm lost, it said. I'm gone. I'm finished. I'm no one anymore, it feels. But then the great ocean heard this little drop's sorrow. And then the ocean laughed. And it says, little one, little drop, said the ocean. Why do you weep? I do not understand your grief. When you join me, you do not lose yourself. You joined all the other countless other drops of which I am made. Look at me. I am not something apart from you. I am you and you are me. You have not ended. You have become the ocean itself. So you see the two characters in the story, which reflects the drop is the Jivatman or the ocean is the Paramatman. But then there was no Jivatman or Paramatman. The whole thing is the Brahman. So this a beautiful story which Swami Vivekananda saw. A quick video of how we have done it in AA itself on how that drop of water falling in the ocean. So the whole concept is the Brahman. The next one is the principles of the world according to Swami Vivekananda. Since the inception of the world, if you see, there has always been a struggle between two opposing forces in various fields. A duel between dual forces. If you take physics, you have the centripetal and centrifugal force. If you take politics, you have liberalism, conservatism. Labor, you have white collar and blue collar. Even in metaphysics, you have yin and yang or Advaita and Dvaita, all those are there. But human beings have an uncanny capacity for innovations that can incur both benefit and often harm in ways beyond our vision. Example, you take nuclear fission. When it was conceived, yes, there were a good amount of advantages, but then we had the atom bomb also. Social media, when it was conceived, if you find they all wanted to connect the whole world together, all the communities together. But then what happened? Addiction and so many other problems are caused because of social media. So that's why, as with any innovation in human race, we find time and again one group will be favoring that and the other group will be actually against that. Even in AA, it is the same thing is happening. There are always two groups. One is favoring it and the other says no, we have to be against it. So our hunch is we have to accept this as any organization would, but then we have to study it, do research on it, and then take a balanced approach. So that balancing is the most critical thing. So the middle path, or the Buddha calls it, so that we have to ideally find it. So the middle path, as we conceive, it is not a straight middle path. It is like a sinusoidal wave. You go to that other end, find that doesn't work, and then come to that other side. So through the experience, you just try to find out what will be the best approach to it. With the AA, if you find, there has been a democratization of the knowledge. So AA is the defining, So the facets of AA and Advaita will see the knowledge, thinking, trust and consciousness. So the next slide is the democratization of the knowledge. AA is the defining catalyst of our time, driving digital disruption across every field of knowledge. Take mathematics, so many changes are coming. Physics, chemistry and medicine, biology and all those fields. And each have been reshaped at a pace no generation could actually witness. And the last 30 years, have been a dramatic change, and the last 5 years has been a great transformation. There are so many good things that have been happening. So you get shared knowledge, accessible knowledge. The knowledge could be shared and easily accessible for the common people. So because of the democratization of the knowledge, even the normal people or the underprivileged people will be able to get some of the ideas. But it has to be taken through the right means. But the idea itself is not new. Even in the ancient, the scriptural knowledge, what Shankara tried to do, or even in the recent years, Swami Vivekananda tried to do, was democratization of knowledge, where the knowledge of the highest knowledge, the Atma-jnana, was to be democratized and given to all. Swamiji beautifully says about the convergence of the knowledge. So it is true that, next slide. Yeah. It is true that Upanishads have this one theme before them. What is it? That knowing which we know everything else. In modern language, the theme of the Upanishads is to find an ultimate unity in the things. And science, true science, always also finds that same approach. That's why Swami Vivekananda beautifully says, science actually removes the superstitions in your philosophy or something. And philosophy also removes the superstitions in science. So if a true philosophy or a true scientist is there, they kind of remove the superstitions with each other. And every science is based upon this. All human knowledge is based upon finding the unity in the midst of all the diversity. So Advaita also helps in finding the one unified source of knowledge. And AA is now becoming a catalyst in the convergence of the knowledge fields. The next slide. And this is a very interesting thing, the quality of inquiry. We all know about the Kathopanishad, the Yama Nachiketa story, and we always feel that the Yama is the solution, meaning in the sense that Yamadharmaraja, whatever question you may ask, he answers all the questions and we regard him high. And Nachiketa, yes, definitely a child of Shraddha and asking the right questions, and then we are able to get the answers. But now with generative AI and all this coming in here, asking the right question is about everything. Answers are all over there. Answers are there in the cosmic universe. But asking the right question, that really matters. And that matters to us also. So that's why even with our large language models today, it is comparing, if you compare it to the thousands of years ago, when Nachiketa stood before Yama and asked the one question, what is the life after death? That's a really worthy question. So even we have to be modeled in such a way. Okay. The next one is the standardization of thinking. Yes, definitely AI has a lot of advantages that we could see. But one thing that is happening, a standardization of thinking. We have something called the critical thinking. Even Advaita Vedanta, one of the prerequisites that we need to study is the Nyaya tradition of logic. It is not necessary if you know the Advaita Vedanta itself, but then if you want to debate, if you want to teach someone, definitely the Nyaya is very much important. It trains the mind to think very critically, to question, to doubt, and to reason for itself. But modern AI language models, what is happening? We ask a question, and then there are 3 or 4 major models are there, and then you get the same answer. Then what happens is the critical thinking goes away. We just believe whatever the models actually give. So that has to be changed. So this is not like the government will pitch in and change or the companies will pitch in and change. But somehow we have to gather that critical thinking. So definitely AI makes us more informed, but unless we remain vigilant, it can also make us less individual in our thinking. So this is very critical. The next slide. So this is an AIification of everything. Now we are over-trusting everything. So this happened like some 10-15 years back when neuroscience was very popular. There were so many books which tried to say like, okay, neuroscience of everything. Whatever you want to explain, it will be explained through neuroscience. Now AI is going through the same model. So whatever you want, see, now Advaita and AI, actually the comparison is like you compare the Himalayas, which is Advaita, and AI is just a tool. So there should be literally no comparison. But we have to have this discourse because we are doing this actually. We are over-trusting it. So we have to be very careful in this one. Yeah. Next slide. And AI in consciousness. There have been a lot of discussions about this one. and it will be a never-ending story, because the reason is the most humbling topic. This has been coming all along in case of human inquiry is our consciousness. And here I want to take a look at this image in the next slide. So as Sri Ramakrishna beautifully explains, I've taken the same example. So it's like the elephant, where all are bound or visually challenged or blind, you could say. So one is an AI expert, one is a neuroscientist, and even a philosopher, and all those people are there. So psychology or even a quantum physicist. They reach a blindfold, each touching one part, but not seeing the whole thing. And that is why the story of consciousness research is quite literally a never-ending one. Even the definitions fails us, because every attempt that we try to describe consciousness loops back to the experience it was trying to explain. If you take the Western terminology, when they say about meditation, it is not really dhyana. They talk about dharana. But then when we say meditation, here everyone knows it is dhyana. Same thing with soul. When we talk about here, we always refer to the Atman. But then when you have the soul in the Western context, many times they refer to the mind. So Swamiji clearly saw this over a century ago itself. If you see the next slide, so where he says, consciousness is a mere film between the two oceans. One is the subconscious, the other one is the superconscious. So he says, the goal is not to study consciousness, but to transcend it into something called the superconscious, which is actually the consciousness. What he means is the Turiya state, where death becomes immortality. But now, this near-death experiences have been studied for the last 40 years, but then now scientifically many things are being studied. And what is happening is, when we try to do this empirically, there are reports which are coming in where a glimpse of consciousness for the common people who don't understand anything about it are getting it. So the near-death experiences, many of the research papers that are coming out, they are getting a glimpse of this consciousness, or maybe this thing. But it is not a permanent, it has to be obtained, but they get a glimpse. So this is remarkably similar to the Kathopanishad, where the dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama, that same thing was queried. Next slide. So these are some of the research papers which have been explaining about this. Next. Yeah. So the technology adoption and the knowledge in the hands of corporations. For spiritual or service organizations, if you adopt technology, usually it takes a back seat. In one of the magazines called The New Scientist, the famous author, The Artificial Intelligence, A Guide for Thinking Humans, in her recent interview mentions that AI systems should not just remain in the hands for profit corporations. It should be for education institutions, research institutions, and non-profits, because these are some of the institutions which don't have hidden motives or bias. And for-profit corporations always have profits, shareholders' interests, businesses in mind. So that is why it is very critical to have the AI research in these institutions. So I heard from Maharaj also, there are some innovation research labs which have been done by the government. Some of the people are doing it. So that is very interesting. So that's why we have created something called the Intelligence and Reality Labs from our Vivekananda University. So these are twin complementary labs. One is the Intelligence Lab, dedicated to artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and tomorrow's super intelligence. And the Reality Lab, which is dedicated to augmented virtual reality, mixed reality, and extended reality. So these labs serve for our mission's orientation, and working in conjunction with Indian knowledge systems, that is very critical. So we kind of develop digital prototypes and then make sure that Indian knowledge systems are also as in part of it. So we have talked about all the AA and the Advaita Vedanta, but what about the practice? That is very critical. Swamiji beautifully tells about this one. I have been asked to say something about the practical position of the Vedanta philosophy. Theory is very good, but how are we going to carry out in practice? If it is absolutely impracticable, then no theory is of any value, and it's just an intellectual gymnastics. So the Vedanta must be intensely practical. We must be able to carry out in practice in every part of our life. So he narrates a beautiful story about this one, a deer story on the next slide. So the difficulty in a practice. So a deer, two stags are there. Once there were two deers, a father and a son. The father was proudly telling his son, "Look at me, my powerful antlers. With one thrust, I can just kill a man. You should be proud of us, of our own community." Next slide. Just then, there was a hunter team who was approaching them. They were playing a marching sound, which typically played by the hunters during their hunting expedition. The moment the father deer heard this, it just vanished, with the child being there, and the child was following the father deer frantically. Then the son deer somehow tracked him and inquired, "Oh father, you spoke so strong and so brave, yet you vanished in a moment's notice." Then the father humbly replied, "My child, I know I am strong and powerful, but whenever I hear the hunter's marching sound, something seizes me and then makes me fly." This is the case with most of us. We talk about the highest philosophy, the Vedanta and all those, but then we go home and then when a testing situation comes, then we fail miserably. So how do we can improve this? So we thought we'll take up one project which combines the technological tools and also the ancient Indian knowledge systems. So this we call it Samsmriti Darshanam. This has been submitted to a government project in India, Department of Science and Technology. So what we are trying is utilizing Vedanta and AI using cutting edge pipe in our pipeline. We call it Samsmriti Darshanam, where we transform the Vedantic knowledge into practical spiritual methodologies for preventive mental well-being, which is a important thing nowadays, especially for the younger generation, but utilizing the latest techniques, AI and mixed reality technologies. Since we know that Vedanta systems have always been practical and experiential, so this is very critical. If we talk about behavioral psychology, it identifies as primary stress responses. Psychologists will be knowing it is like fight or flight, they call it. And then they have something called the freeze and the fawn, which is a new instinctive mechanisms. In response to whenever we have a threat or a distress, we do this. So this project actually transforms these instinctive patterns through constant remembrance. We call it Samsmriti. And also through insightful perception, called Darshanam of Vedantic wisdom. So this actually cultivating a reflective awareness that kind of transcends the instinctive reaction. So by leveraging A and MR or mixed reality, we kind of make this approach a trainable skill. So the conception behind this project itself is negative emotions such as stress, anxiety and anger kind of happens in the social world. So using a triangulate of wearable devices, in the next slide. Yeah, this is the project. Next one. So using a combination of, let's say, your smart glasses, which is going to come with camera, the AirPods with EEG sensors and your wearable watches. These can detect the physiological indicators, just like when anger comes, we try to measure. So if we can measure these inner emotions, but then we have to correlate with self-reported emotional data, which is the subjective aspect. So earlier we used to write in diary, now there are mood journals and all those, or in messaging. Whenever we type, we try to correlate the subjective aspect and the objective aspect, and then try to find out if this is the emotion of the person. Once the emotion data is verified, then in the glasses, it can play out a scriptural verse. It has happened, right? When we get angry, immediately, oh, from Gita, this has been said. So how we can actually overcome the anger? Or we drink a glass of water. And for people who are not interested in a very scriptural thing, what we do is we kind of create an immersive video, a short video, which will actually play this one. So this whole project, Samsmriti Darshanam, is about recollection and visualization at the correct moment, at the opportune moment, with the media or with the media playing out at the right time, and through repeated practice, we can de-escalate the emotions. So we can see a short video of how the volume is. Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda books. So we are creating a kind of a chat bot for this one. So if someone asks a question about Swami Vivekananda's life or message, then the problem is with Gemini or Claude, it gets it from Wikipedia and other sources, which could contain non-authentic sources. So what we try to do is we feed in the authentic sources, our own publications, and then we can ask a question and then the answer will be given. So a preview implementation is done, and here we are also taking a conscious decision where you know about AI and power consumption. The power consumption is very high for the AI models. So we are trying to use ARM processors with particular GPUs where the power consumption is also less. So I can explain later. Yeah. The same could be extended for the life and teachings of Shankaracharya, as you can see. So if a hologram of Shankaracharya we are planning, similar to Swami Vivekananda, which we want. So you can ask any question, and in your museum or something, if you can have this, then the question can be asked. The answers can be from the publications or Shankaracharya's, all the scriptures. So it will be a nice thing for the visitors where a question is asked and the answers are being given, and authentic answers are being given. And the next one is about the digital twins. So what we are trying is, Swami Vivekananda has visited a lot of places, and we are trying to scan through a 3D perspective. Because if you just take photos or videos, tomorrow, if that building or if that object gets destroyed, then we will not be able to replicate it. So the reason is a 3D scan would be better than the 2D photos, because we can create exact detailed replicas, the 3D replicas. So this will be used for the preservation and the recreation of the heritage also. The same thing for Shankaracharya also. So there are places where you can go and then scan those in 3D. So we are using a technique called Gaussian splatting. You can see this, yeah, where you can actually create real-time rendering for all these indoor and outdoor spaces. So using this, the slide, we can even create the Kaladi where Shankaracharya went, that Purna river, that could be scanned actually. And then we can even recreate those incidents, whatever happened in the Purna river, using 3D generative AI models. So these are some of the projects that we have been doing. And this project, the next slide, we had applied for Swami Vivekananda, the 3D scanning, and we got $100,000 or 83 lakhs for the heritage artifacts. So we have started the scanning work, and it will take another couple of years where we can scan all those and it will be publicly available. And the next one is the Advaita through immersive media technologies. We have this lecture and all those talking about Advaita Vedanta and everything, but still it takes a lot of patience to listen. But what we want is for the children and the younger people, they don't have that patience. So what we have created is a 15-minute immersive experience in Chennai, and Delhi also it is there, where the Yama Nachiketa story can be seated there. I mean, the people will be seated there, and then we created a immersive Yamaloka itself. And the whole experience is so immersive. Within 15 minutes, the children will be able to understand that the Kathopanishad or the Yama Nachiketa story, the crux of it. So this we have done it using a surround sound system. Smoke effects will be there, seat vibrations will be there, holographic displays will be there, and an immersive audio is there, and fire effects and everything literally is there. So this is some of the things that we have done. Next one. Yeah, this is like some 3D models of Shankaracharya which we have done. Next. So about the Shankara and the crocodile, that story probably will be there. Now with generative AI, we can make it much more interesting. In the next slide, you will see Shankara in the water. We have done a creative story where Shankara can be like the Jiva, and the Paramatma is the sun. And when he is worshipping, he gets that Viveka and Vairagya. And the whole Purna river is like the Samsara. And the crocodile is approaching, which is your Maya or the Kama Kanchana. So using this, we can create a creative stories where children and younger generation itself, they can be part of the project. You can see a short video. So children should be encouraged to make this kind of videos where they understand the concepts and they are also able to utilize AI and modern tools. And there is one more video, next one. Yeah. So this is of mediocre quality, but you can have high-end quality videos also now made. Shankaracharya, when he goes to that Omkareshwar, where he meets the Guru, Govinda Bhagavat Pada, that video you can see. It has been completely done by AI. Yes. With sound volume. So these kind of hyper realistic short videos, which would take probably a few weeks and a higher budget, could be now done in 2 to 3 days. You can see another video of Swami Vivekananda, which we have done it in Chennai. You can play that video also. So Swamiji, when he returns to Chennai, so this video is about Swami Vivekananda's successful stint at Parliament of Religions, and then when he is returning, the anticipation, how the crowd was expecting him, and based on the facts that has been there, our department people, they created this visualization. So this kind of video. So we know how Swami Vivekananda was received. The next one, Advaita for accessibility. This is one of the very interesting projects, and a lot of scope is there. The next slide. We call it Netravani. So this is designed for people with mixed abilities, but primarily for visually challenged. So what we are trying to do is, we try to redefine Indian storytelling with a combination of immersive audio and generative AI crafted by the visually challenged creators themselves. Recently, there has been a function called Literary Tales. You would have heard about LitFest, which has been happening in India, all over India, but also Literary Tales, where our grandparents would be telling the stories to us, or our parents would be telling the story to us. That has slowly actually declined. It will be cultural stories or Ramayana, Mahabharata and all those. But now again the storytelling has taken this one, and it has quickly emerged as one of the most important platforms. Even the Harry Potter book that has been there, it has been now done in this immersive audio. So this immersive audio is something like, we have 2 ears, usually it will be a stereo, but then with the immersive audio, it will be actually a 360 degrees audio. Example, you take Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, if you have the Sri Ramakrishna and Master Mahasaya speaking, and you have the Dakshineshwar bell ringing, and you have the Ganges flowing, all will be from that particular angle, and you'll be able to hear it in a very immersive manner. So this is kind of the spatial audio that we see. So we want to recreate all these stories, the Vedantic stories, Yama Nachiketa stories, all those in the immersive audio or the spatial audio. So yeah, this, what ultimately we want is, we want the visually challenged people themselves to create this kind of video, this kind of audio. So we have got 2 people who will be actively working on it, and they'll be creating such immersive audio. The next one is Advaita for children. Swami Vivekananda says the abstract Advaita must actually be living, poetic in everyday life. And all this must be put in a form so that even a child may grasp it. So that is my life's work. So we have conceived a project based upon this above ideal. Next slide. So we call it a Shankara, a smart toy, based on Shankaracharya's childhood persona, which kind of analyzes the emotional well-being of the children through facial and video analysis. So let's say we have a camera and all those we observe, and then we empower them with Vedantic teachings and then inspirational stories from the Upanishads. We also have some meditation games, chanting, and then inspiring stories which regulate the children's emotions. So that enable them to have the mental strength to boldly face the difficulties of the world. This we have done it for Swami Vivekananda. Yes. And then we had submitted this proposal to Government of India Taikothon. We developed a prototype, and out of 17,000 submissions, we have won the first prize in the out of the box category. The next slide. So Advaita for the self-empowerment. What about our own self? One project that we have conceived was meditation quotient. Next slide. Yeah. Meditation has always been subjective, and we were wondering if the quality of the meditation can somehow be measured objectively, maybe using cognitive neuroscience and also something called neurophenomenology, which also measures the subjective aspects. So a review of the research papers that we studied, especially from Nature, Elsevier, and a lot of research, neuroscience we found out is still in infancy when it comes to meditation, because meditation is a very complex phenomenon and there are varieties of meditation. So it is a challenging task to measure the quality. Instead, what we tried was, we tried to measure the distraction markers. If you see here, you have the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. And the mental state, you have the focus, excitement, and the dullness. So the markers what we are trying was the meditation and the mind wandering, or we call the sleep onset or the drowsiness basically. So what we are trying here is, if a person is trying to meditate for 1 hour, and then if his mind wanders away for 30 minutes and he's feeling drowsy for 20 minutes, then we should be at least able to say that, okay, he's attempted meditation or he is doing dharana for 10 minutes. So it would be interesting if you can have some wearables with an array of sensors. You have the ECG, EMG that can detect the mind wandering and the sleep onset, and then maybe alert us whenever our mind is wandering or whenever we are kind of a drowsiness happens. A haptic touch or a touch that indicates that, oh, your mind is wandering. But then a beautiful thing happens. A biofeedback happens, which in turn, when it comes to the brain, a neurofeedback also happens, which then, when you do it repeatedly, it can prevent further mind wandering and drowsiness. So this has been tested and it has been working. So this could be, further research could be done. Yeah. So we have created this intelligence in reality labs. So it is not like a project that we do and then we showcase it to the public and then they see it. We want active participation, especially from the younger generation and from the professionals, students, and all classes. Even in our labs, we have people from 14-year-old to 75-year-old. So from every class, because when I tell about even younger generation, it is not like the people of that age category. What our President Maharaj is there, 96 years old. I would say he is the youngest among all. So that is the younger generation. So he is very optimistic, very active, and that kind of positive attitude, that is very critical. So we have created this lab for the younger generation. We call it Nachiketa Lab. You would have heard about STEM labs, especially in the West. We call it Science, Technology, Engineering, and Medicine. But we call it STEAM, where S stands for both science and spirituality. And then we have the technology, engineering, and arts is also very important. So you have the painting, music, and all those that has to be inculcated. And then the MS, mathematics or medicine. Medicine, we talk about mental well-being, emotional well-being, the psychological aspect also. So we bring them offline and on campus. That is very critical. It is not like online we teach something and then remote things, all those doesn't work. We want them to be physically present. And then the Nachiketa lab is the first team lab in our order. Wait. Go back. Yeah. So what we want is, we want informal learning, not like a formal learning in a classroom, but we want informal learning and a community-based mentoring, where it's not like the one person kind of has to teach. It should be community-based and each should tutor themselves. And we want flexible scheduling also. And this will be free from parental pressure or peer pressure, and from social media also we want. When the children come in, we find it happen. And one interesting thing is, we noticed this, when people come to Ramakrishna Matan Mission, especially the younger people, we think that they want peace of mind and all those things. But what we found out through experiences, it is actually the purpose that is required. And we found out from a lot of research, the younger people, especially in the Western countries, where suicide and all those are happening, it is because of they feel they are not worthy. The purpose is not there. So that has been the instrument. So what we do with this research lab is give them a purpose according to their needs. We study each individual, the psychology, and observe them. We don't preach to any of them. They come in, they be there for a longer term approach, 1 year and all those, then slowly understand them, and then that's why we have smaller numbers. We have smaller numbers and a longer term approach is required. So from this, what we expect? Good enlightened citizens, where Ranganathanji Maharaj told about this, so that is what we want. And a volunteer program called Digi Seva also has been organized. So our ultimate objective, it is not like digital transformation or AI transformation and all those. Our goal is our self-transformation. So that is what is more important. So the last slide about Digi Seva, next slide. So the Digi Seva has been, a new program has been started just a couple of months back. So we had done something called a volunteer boot camp at Belur. Around 250 participants came, some came online also. And then they are very much interested in it. So our goal, what is the Digi Seva program itself is, you serve humanity through digital technologies. So if you're expert in, let's say, psychology or neuroscience or some technology, AI and all those, and it could be a domain expertise also. So whatever domain expertise we have, we try to combine it with a bit of technology, and then you should be able to pitch in. So a lot of people have shown interest, and we have two programs. One is where you can help in remotely. Another is we have a place in near Mysore, a rural area, where everything, accommodation, food and all is provided. People can come and stay 3 months, 6 months, 1 year or longer term, and they can peacefully work in your own field. And it also has to serve the society. So this is a new program that we have started. So skilled professionals, researchers and students we are encouraging. So this is one of the interesting programs that we have done. Yeah, that's about it. Yes. Namaste. Thank you.
My thanks to Maharaj, my brother monk. First time I think I saw him in Narendrapur. That time for some university work, I think you had visited 2 years back. And then afterward we were always in touch for our website making also. So today it was so wonderful program, and we did it like a kind of a audiovisual kind of things for the first time in our ashram. It was done so well, and now next our evening prayer, Arati will start about 5 o'clock. So those who can sit for Arati, they will wait for Arati. With this, and lots of thanks. Maharaj came for, actually we utilized Maharaj to the utmost. He actually came for Pasupatinath Darshan and Muktinath Darshan. He finished all these things. So yesterday and today he was in ashram. So yesterday morning it clicked in my mind that if we could do something like that. So it happened. Huh? Yeah, everything happened. So it's very nice, and thank you all of you for coming here. And all right, thank you. Visit again.